What's up, Mi40 University? Ben Pakulski, Dr. Jacob Wilson, Mark Coles coming at you from the Mi40 gym. The topic for today is going to be metabolic flexibility. So we brought in the experts and we decided to bring Mr. Mark Coles in. As much as he's an expert, we wanted to give you a bit of a means of comparison because Mark and I have both gone and done what's called a metabolic cart at the University of Tampa Performance Lab with Dr. Wilson, and it's given us a reading on what our body actually utilizes at rest, whether it be carb and whether it be fat, and it comes out in the form of a percentage. So Dr. Wilson is going to break that down for you. But first, we're going to give you guys an idea of what metabolic flexibility is. We're going to come back tomorrow and tell you how to make the most of it. So Doc, what is metabolic flexibility? What do they need to know first off and foremost?
Well, I guess metabolic flexibility, the real simple way is, it's your ability to respond to different nutritional challenges. And that means that if you're fasting, what should you be using primarily? Fats as fuel, because you don't have any other fuel source. But if you eat a big carbohydrate meal, like a big bowl of cereal or pasta, you should be able to take it and utilize those carbohydrates. So that's what metabolic flexibility is.
Right, there's a tremendous genetic component. We all know that person who can kind of eat whatever they want and they're going to metabolize it and stay lean. But there's actually some ways that we can strategically manipulate our dietary intake or our training to preference our body to use one type of nutrient or the other. So that's why Dr. Wilson will tell us about what Mark saw on his metabolic cart and then what I saw on mine. So you want to give him a response of what Mark saw?
Yeah, so Mark essentially was using primarily on the metabolic cart carbohydrates as fuel.
Yep.
In fact, what was your percentage?
Percentage for carbohydrates was 60%.
60% carbohydrates.
Yep.
So, and then whereas Ben was around 15% carbohydrate.
Right. So Mark, you want to give an idea what your diet's like right now and why you'd be using 60% carbohydrate?
Especially the day before.
Okay, so how my diet's set up at the moment is it's carbohydrate calorie cycling. So I still use double day training sessions. So on a Monday, post-competition, kind of like 5 weeks post-comp, I'm around about 600 grams of carbs. That's a double day. On a Tuesday, around about 350. And then on a Wednesday, which is my rest day, I go to 0 carbs. And interestingly, we were just talking about this, on my 0 day, whilst I prefer to minimize carbohydrate intake, as I get early to the afternoon, I found that I needed to add some carbohydrates. Having the metabolic cart now allows me to realize and understand that predominantly being a 60% carb utilizer, that's why I needed carbohydrates, because my body didn't shift as quickly from carbohydrate utilization into fats, whereas obviously with Ben, it's very, very different. He's predominantly more fats, so you prefer more fat days, right?
Right, so you guys will realize the metabolic cart is actually tested at rest. They actually tested first thing in the morning, fasted, right? So Doc, tell them what the metabolic cart is. How exactly does it test this? You know, you give them the mechanism and all that stuff.
So basically, like when you actually consume oxygen, we can look at how much is actually utilized as fuel, and we can look at how much CO2 is expelled, and from that we can determine how many carbohydrates and fats are used, because everything has a different signature. So that's why we can know what Mark and what Ben were actually using.
Amazing.
So yeah,
so at the time I was probably using about 350 grams of carbs a day, but for a guy as big as myself, 350 grams of carbs is pretty low, and my fat's actually tremendously high. So my body tends to be really efficient at switching from carbohydrate to fat. So I would be considered metabolically flexible, meaning when I eat fat, my body preferences fat as fuel. When I eat carbs, my body still is okay to burn carbs as fuel. So that's someone who's metabolically flexible. If you tend to be metabolically inflexible, it means whatever you eat, your body's still going to preference one or the other. You want to explain exactly how that would work and how people can conceptualize it?
Yeah, so exactly, like for example, like Mark does eat a lot of carbohydrates every day, and so his body preferentially is going to use carbs. Even on the days where he goes low carb, basically his body's going to preference carbs as fuel, so he adapts to that diet. Ben might have a little bit more variation in his diet, and that allows him to be metabolically flexible and respond to different sort of meal patterns.
And a lot of it is genetically determined. A lot of it, we've done some research with Dr. Daniel Reardon at Muscle Genes, and what he's actually shown us is there's genetic individualization for the fat utilization and carb utilization. I happen to be what's called heterozygous carbohydrate utilizer, meaning I can use the carbohydrate efficiently, and I'm also heterozygous fat utilization. They have a specific gene name which we don't remember at the time, but so basically my body can switch back and forth. Some people may be homozygous for really efficient fat utilization, and maybe they're homozygous for really efficient carb utilization, and both. So maybe they're really, really efficient at using both nutrients. And then you get some people who can't use either nutrients really well, in which case nutrient programming is really, really important, which basically we'll tell you about tomorrow. And all effectively that is how nutrient timing can massively affect how your body's going to use nutrients, kind of like how Mark and I have different dietary intakes. We're going to show you how you can use training to effectively manipulate your metabolic flexibility. Anything else you want to mention? We can teach you how to use supplements, maybe nutrient reprogramming days. Anything else you think we could touch on?
Well, I think just the main thing to hammer home is that everyone is different. Like we see with the metabolic carts, so you can't just read a paper, this bodybuilder is doing this diet, therefore it'll work for me.
Right.
You're going to have to adapt to what you're basically programmed to do. And we'll talk more about that next episode.
I think I'll add on this. The more research and testing I did on myself, whether it's genetic testing, whether it's the metabolic cart, and also on a day-to-day basis watching how my physique and energy and performance reacted in terms of different dietary interventions, was what led me to eating the way that I eat now. I'm not going to eat the way that Ben eats just because Ben looks the way that he looks, because eating a lot of fat is not beneficial to me. Eating more carbohydrates with the volume of training is more beneficial to me. But I found that out from trying different methods. So don't just use what everybody else is using because that's what works for them. Get some testing done. Try and get involved in some metabolic cart testing or genetic testing, and try and understand your own body.
So we're going to show you guys tomorrow some really good insights on how to program your body to use the nutrients that you want it to use. From the Mi40 Gym, for Dr. Wilson, Mark Coles, Ben Pakulski, I'm out.